What's up, everybody? My name is Aiden and welcome back to another video. Ladies and gentlemen, today we are going to be discussing, I guess, an interesting couple of sentences, a couple of interesting quotes that has come out from a former NBA player and one of the centers, in my opinion, in his time was proven to be one of the best centers in the game. His name is DeMarcus Cousins. I believe he had an interview and he said some things about the Chicago Bulls that I find very, very interesting. Before we get any further, if you like the video and you want to see more from me, drop a like, drop a follow, and or subscribe if you are new, and comment down below your thoughts about the Chicago Bulls, DeMarcus Cousins, and whether or not you agree with some of the statements he has made about the Chicago Bulls in his own opinion. Now, keep in mind, this is his own opinion. I don't think he has any inside knowledge on the Chicago Bulls, the kind of situations they have been in. He's just giving some things that maybe in his experience has led to some things that maybe the Chicago Bulls could be going through at this point in time. We'll take a deeper dive into this. So DeMarcus Cousins basically said from the Chicago Bulls standpoint that they have a team that is actually, not too shabby. You got DeMar DeRozan that can do a lot of things. Zach LaVine can do a lot of things. But he said he doesn't believe this team will make it to December. And then he also said that the first, I guess, having a players only meeting in the first game of the season is a rare sight to see, has never been seen before, and is something that is not necessarily a good sign for the Chicago Bulls if they're spreading hate and, I guess, abuse towards each other and blaming each other within the first game of the season. Wowee. Now, again, just by the introduction I gave to DeMarcus Cousins, I truly rate him as one of the best modern centers in the NBA at his time, of course. Again, he's definitely not, in my eyes, a Nikola Jokic today or a Joel Embiid or anything like that, but DeMarcus Cousins in his time was an amazing center to watch. And again, I truly think he helped shaped and modernize how good centers are today. I think he was kind of a foundation block of what a center could look like, and then you're seeing the centers of today just kind of take over. I mean, look at the Wembanyama's of the world that can literally do everything on the floor. Jokic as well, an MVP caliber player that could just dominate in every single facet of the game. Playmaking, rebounding, scoring, anything you want him to do, he can do. And obviously being that point center as well. Joel Embiid, again, a physical dominant presence in the post, defensively. He's athletic enough to be able to handle the ball and just do all these good things for the Philadelphia 76ers. And he obviously won the MVP last season. I think DeMarcus Cousins helped shape how centers look today. That's massive praise. And again, it's something that I always admired about him. But one thing that's always held him back, or one thing that's always been, I guess, a talking point in his NBA career, is that he's been around chaotic teams with the Sacramento Kings, the ownership, the whole organization from that point just looked like an absolutely chaotic scene. And then DeMarcus Cousins himself is often considered a chaotic player. The amount of technical fouls that he gets, the amount of, I guess, how many times he can lose control in a game, and all these things. And that was a big reputation point for DeMarcus Cousins. So for him to come out and say some things like that is actually very interesting to me. So let's start off with some of the things that he said. We'll start off with, obviously, the players only meeting and saying that it's very rare, if it's never really been done before, that a team had a player only meeting in the first game of the season. And look, he's been around the NBA. I think he's absolutely right. I think it's so rare that what we saw for the Chicago Bulls in that first game of the season, yes, it's a little bit ways away from where it happened, but at the end of the day, it's still very rare to see. But it doesn't necessarily mean in my eyes that we can't salvage the situation, but it's going to take a lot of work. And at the end of the day, that does lead to his opinion when he says he doesn't think this team will last until December. Now, again, I guess I could kind of list to a different video that I made talking about whether or not this player only meeting was a good thing or not. I think it's good and bad at the same time. Yes, it's embarrassing for this organization to have a players only meeting so early. It's embarrassing that it was so, I guess, media wide, and how the Bulls from the very beginning of the season had a reputation hit because of that one game. And it's it sucks to see. And now Bulls fans see that and they already give up on the team from the very beginning. Those are the bad things. But I think there is some positive in there, and that positive is that from the very beginning, Torrey Craig said something in terms of preseason, saying this team is really quiet and it's up to them to talk. They need to talk and be vocal, and that was a situation in Game 1 where they're able to talk and be vocal. And yes, maybe there was some hate spread around, maybe there was some accusations spreading around, some accountability being spread around, but that might have been the loudest the Chicago Bulls have been in a long time. And maybe that is going to help us in the future if we can continue continue to remain vocal. So there was some goods and some bads in the player-only meeting this early on in the season. But without a shadow of a doubt, it probably is unheard of. And as someone as chaotic as DeMarcus Cousins could be, and someone that has been on some chaotic teams, for him to come out and say that, I mean, it does say a lot, and I do value that opinion from DeMarcus Cousins. But let's move over into the second thing that he said, and that was he doesn't think this team will last until December. Now, I obviously talked about the Chicago Bulls even outside of YouTube, and I was talking to one of my friends about this, and he asked me basically, when do you think the Bulls would make a move if they do make a move? And I would say December or January is when I truly think the Bulls will make a move if they feel this team will not get anywhere. So in some way, I agree with DeMarcus Cousins saying this team may not last until December. But it's very, very clear and it's very, very basic to understand. It's not up to anybody except for the front office whether or not the Bulls would make a decision on that. DeMarcus Cousins thinks that, and that's okay. Very interesting. I take that opinion, and again, it's a good opinion to have in my eyes. Again, I don't think anybody's wrong in this instance, but if the front office wants to make a move, they will make a move. And maybe that will be in February. Maybe that will be in March. Maybe that will be tomorrow. We don't know when the Chicago Bulls are going to plan to make that move. But one thing's for certain, the guarantee is the front office is the one to make the moves. And they could literally just say, hey, DeMarcus Cousins said this, so we're not going to do it in December. If they want to be that petty about it, they could do something like that. But at the end of the day, if the front office still believes in this team in December, then there's no move that's going to be made. It really comes down to when does the front office truly lose the belief in this team? The fans have lost belief. Even a good game against, who did we play? The Utah Jazz, 130 points, a great offensive night, a great defensive night aside. It was a beautiful game to watch. But the fans have lost belief. I think some players might have even lost belief, but I'm not going to speak on their behalf. They can believe what they want to believe. But most definitely, a lot of the fans that I interact with have lost faith in the Chicago Bulls. But it's not up to the fans. It's not up to the coach. It's not up to the players. It's up to the front office. When will they lose belief in this team? They could lose belief a lot later than some other people. And that means those changes will happen a lot later than we might want. But again, it is what it is. So in some way, yeah, I do agree with DeMarcus Cousins. I personally don't think this team will last until December or January, the way that they're going. And it's not necessarily about the record. I've said it in the past. 3-5 is a salvageable. It's a record we can come back from. I don't know how to say words. It's a record we can come back from. We can manage it. We can survive a 3-5 record. But the performances is where I really draw the line, in all honesty. The great game against Utah is the outlier compared to so many other bad games in the past. So many of them, even in the wins. We've seen some really bad performances from the Chicago Bulls. That is something that we might not be able to come back from. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. So in that regard, that's why I think this team won't last until December or January. And I think those are the times the Bulls will have to make some moves if they're going to make any moves. But I don't know. Again, just very interesting things coming from DeMarcus Cousins there. And of course, I do like DeMarcus Cousins. I've said in the past, I would love DeMarcus Cousins on the Bulls. Maybe not now, but in the past I've said that. And I think he could have brought a lot of offensive firepower to the Chicago Bulls in the paint and in, I guess, being an aggressive paint player. And we still kind of need someone like that right now. But it is what it is. We'll move on from that one. Interesting quotes from DeMarcus Cousins there. What do you guys think about the Bulls situation? Do you agree with him? Will this team last until January and February? Do you think a players only meeting is kind of unheard of in the NBA in game one? What do you guys think? I think there's a lot of things that he said that is right. Or at least if it's not right, it's something that I don't think is necessarily wrong either. So I appreciate those opinions. And again, I would love to see more people talk, more ex-players, more specifically, talk about the Chicago Bulls. I'd like to see more of it because I find this Bulls team like a case study in many ways. Like, I don't think there's a right answer here, in all honesty. Like, some people can have different opinions on it, but until the front office makes a decision, this Bulls team is a case study. Figure it out if you can. That's kind of what I think about this Bulls team. But anyway, thank you all for watching. Drop a like and a follow and or subscribe if you are new. I'll see you in the next Chicago Bulls related video. Stay safe, stay healthy, and stay tuned for more. Take care and peace.